Together, they shattered our cultural confidence and fragmented the discipline of Indology itself. And so, this, my friends, is my answer to the second question, why we need a 3-day conclave on Indology. My dear friends, if those were the assaults of the past, today we face a challenge shaped differently, but just as dangerous. The new forms of invasions do not come with armies or flags. They do not even see themselves as invaders. They claim no territory, but they will seek something far more powerful: our attentions, our habits, and our imaginations. They enter offering tools that feel convenient but slowly shape how an entire society reads, thinks, and remembers. This has been the new phase of a soft warfare, control over cultural memory and a public thought. And today, this quite civilizational force has arrived in its most powerful form, artificial intelligence. The next frontier that will decide who leads and who follows. Therefore, with it comes the questions: are we ready for what comes next? My dear friends, let me begin by recognizing a simple truth. Progress cannot be paused. And in the case of AI, it has arrived like a tidal force, relentless, unbounded, and utterly transformative. Artificial intelligence is not just another step forward. It is the most powerful inventions humanity has ever unlocked. It is a force reshaping how we work, learn, govern, and even imagine. It will either be our greatest leverage or the quiet thief of our identity. And as history teaches us, every transformative breakthrough carries a dark shadow. हर बड़ा महान परिवर्तन अपनी छाया साथ लिए चलता है। जहां उजाला होता है, वहीं अंधेरा भी पलता है। Just as the brilliance of nuclear power came with consequences that the world had to adopt, contain, and defend against, AI too brings with it a darker side. One that demands defending through wisdom, responsibility, and above all, preparations. In the context of Indology, This transformative force begins with an unsettling truth. AI is already becoming the world's new teacher, the guide to our past, and the keeper of our civilizational memory. This is where the danger lies, because the mirror that AI holds up today to reflect our heritage is not our reflections. In its current state, AI has no real connections to the roots of our culture, no real understanding of the richness that has sustained us for over 5,000 years. And therefore, it threatens the very essence of the culture that defines who we are. यह हमारी संस्कृति ही नहीं, हमारे अस्तित्व के लिए भी एक चुनौती है. Allow me to now expand on the three new specific threats we now face. First is the threat of our invisibility. In the world of AI, there is a rule known as a data gravity. Manuscripts sitting in a fragmented scans are invisible to algorithms. If we do not digitize them, we are effectively erasing our own knowledge from the future. Second is the threat of a cultural compressions. Indic knowledge is deep. Concepts like dharma, shraddha, or purusharth are ecosystems of meaning requiring context and commentary. But LLMs flatten meanings. They turn dharma into duty and a moksha into salvation. Once context dies, culture dies. Third is the threat of an alien judgment. These AI models built on safety filters, rooted in Western norms, are like blindfolded gatekeepers, unable to recognize the essence of Vedic practices or the depth of our itihas. They often dismiss this ancient truth as a mythology or harmful, for they lack the cultural lens to understand them. Let me illustrate these three threats with one simple example. In the years ahead, when a child in Mumbai, a second generation Indian in Boston, or a yoga teacher in Berlin asks, "What is Dharma?" Or, "What is the essence of Gita?" They will not open a book. or seek a teacher. They will ask a machine. And that, my friends, is the real danger. Because if our civilizations does not actively defend is a cultural and emotional frameworks, human behavior will bend not towards culture or traditions, but towards the cold logic of the machine's algorithms. This shift will be silent, gradual, and will reshape how we feel, learn, and analyze our own country. The transformation is inevitable, but it must be shaped by our intention and not by accident. So allow me to present 5 recommendations for Bharat to reclaim its intellectual agency in the age of algorithms. First, build the Bharat knowledge graph. Create a single digital source of truth, connecting our text, thinker, timelines, and ideas, so that AI learns from authenticate Bharat and not borrowed interpretations. Second, create an India-centric corpus. Launch a standardized Indology benchmark to test if AI understands Nyaya, Vedanta, and our philosophies. Mandate Indian data in every foreign model. Third, strengthen the human loop. Empower scholars to analyze, refine, and correct AI systems. Establish cultural discipline. All AI operating in India must align with our knowledge traditions. Fourth, invest in a human guardians. Establish Indology AI chairs across universities. Train scholars to speak Sanskrit and Python. Mobilize corporates to co-create next-gen cultural techno experts. And finally, make every college a new Nalanda. Build campuses where ancient wisdom meets modern innovations. Build centers for Bharat behavioral science, Bharat AI ethics, and Bharat data governance. So, my dear friends, as I begin to close, let me emphasize that we stand at a moment where two civilizations meet. The civilization we know as Bharat, and the civilization we have come to know as AI. One is a thousands of years old, the other very new. One carries the wisdom of saints, the other the logic of algorithms. And what happens now in this decade will decide whether these two forces enrich each other or whether they confront each other. This is in our hands, and the responsibility of this scale cannot rest on the shoulders of scholars and institutions alone. Bharat's industry must also rise to its dharma and play its part. Our ancestors protected this knowledge through sacrifice, and today we must protect it through commitment. Therefore, as a beginning, I am humbled to announce a founding contributions of rupees 100 crores towards building the Bharat knowledge graph and supporting the scholars and technologists who will contribute to this Indology mission. This is the repayment of our civilizational debt. हम वह दायित्व निभा रहे हैं जो समय ने हमें सौंपा है। And I warmly invite every corporate house in our nation to stand with us and strengthen this effort. And that is why this Indology gathering is not just a conference, it is a declarations. A declarations that Bharat will not allow her culture to be fractured, diluted, or divided ever again. Are declarations that Bharat will not allow her memory to be rewritten as it was after Nalanda. Are declarations that Bharat will not allow her educations to be diluted as it was under the British chain. It is now upon us to build the data sets and algorithms that honor who we are, so that the stories our mothers told us of Prabhu Ram's sacrifices and Sita Ma's courage are never dismissed as a category called mythology. So that the principles of Dharma that our mothers shaped within us are not compressed into a hollow world called rules, so that the mantras and bhajans that our mothers sang for us are never reduced to a cold tag called content. So let this conclave be remembered for a purpose that ensures when a child in Mumbai or an Indian teenager in Boston or a seeker in a Berlin asks their machine, what is dharma? The machine must answer with the wisdom of our mothers. The machine must answer with the truth of our Shastras, and the machine must answer with the knowledge each of you safeguards. And that, my dear friends, in the holy presence of Jagat Guru Shankaracharya ji, is the true essence of this Indology Conclave.